Hello, welcome to Movement Not Miracles. I'm Anna from Eat, Move, Be Happy. And today, Movement Not Miracles, I'm going to continue with the upper back theme, and we did some of that yesterday, all about mobilising our upper back, and add a bit more for shoulders and working through our shoulder joint and stretching through our shoulders and our armpits, which all helps with that upper back. So when we're sitting still for long periods of time, it's really easy to become very round-shouldered and for our posture to be poor, which is not good, and you can get aches and pains. And my back is still not behaving itself, so I'm continuing to work through that. So work through with me. We're going to start off with a fairly basic, a very basic yoga, but a brilliant yoga pose, downward dog. I've just realised I've still got my trainers on. It's not as easy with your trainers on. However, because I want to focus more on shoulders and upper back, we will still stretch through our legs, but I'm not as worried about that, so I'm going to stick with my trainers on. So we are aiming for your weight to be down through your shoulders and through your hands. So your hands underneath your shoulders with your fingers spread nice and wide, so you can feel all of your fingers on the floor, the whole of your hand on the floor. So this is our version of weight evenly distributed. We're not standing, but we are kneeling, so the weight needs to be evenly distributed through both of your hands and all of your fingers. That just helps you connect with your shoulders and your upper back so that you can squeeze your shoulder blades together. So if you can see, my back's quite rounded there, and what we're aiming for is for your back to be nice and flat. So as you lift up through your hips, you're going to push back with your arms, and that action of squeezing those shoulder blades together, and I can really feel that in my back, as you push down through your hands. You can let your head relax, and to start off with, just nice and steady. We're going to do this again because we all know the second time is better. Keep lifting your hips up, so you're trying to get as much length through your spine as you possibly can. But let me show you from the front what we also want to work on. I look a bit like I've been dragged through a hedge backwards, don't I? We don't want our shoulders hunched up like this, so as your arms come up, we don't want the shoulders to come up. You want your shoulders to stay down. So for that space to happen, you need to work through the muscles in your side. You need to squeeze your shoulder blades onto the back of your chest and work through your muscles in the side of your body here, your lats. So everything, you're imagining that lovely nice posture where you've got space across your collarbones and your shoulders are back and down. And that only happens if you're working through the muscles in your upper back. So we'll do it one more time and see if you can feel your shoulders away from your ears, feet tucked under, hips up. Keep your shoulders away from your ears. Really squeeze through. My upper back's had a bit of a workout the last few days, so I can feel it. I can feel it in those muscles, which is good. Press through your fingers and see if you can get a bit more space through those armpits. Okay, and down you come. So, whilst we're kneeling on the floor, I'm going to take this one into child's pose. So your toes are together, knees are apart, and it's a forward bend. It's quite a supported forward bend because we're taking our legs out of it. Any forward bend, be careful with particularly your lower back. So if you have a bit of a lower back, do this one carefully. So again, what I want you to think about is sitting up out of your pelvis. So we're not, you see the difference. If I just squinch back into shot. If I just sit and don't think about how I'm sitting, the danger is that you sit back. So I'm sitting back on my heels, but you can see, if I sit here, that my back's quite rounded, my shoulders are forward, which is not the position that we want to be in. We want to be in a much straighter, more elongated, so I'm sitting upright without arching through my lower back. So I'm not sticking my bottom out like that. My bottom is tucked under, but I'm sitting nice and tall. Can you see the difference? And the danger is as we get tired, our muscles get tired and they don't support our spine in the right posture, which is why we slump like this. So we need to be conscious of that for the start of this. Well, we need to be conscious of that all the way through the day, to be perfectly honest, but for the start of this move. So sitting up nice and tall, again, shoulders back and down, space across your collarbones, and you're going to bend forward from your hips, from your groin area here. So think of somebody pulling you forwards by a rope attached to your sternum, rather than rounding down like this through your back. Now, when I round down here, it's stretching the muscles in my lower back, but I'm not actually getting any stretch or movement through my spine, which is what we are aiming for. We don't want to stretch through the muscles. We want to bend from the groin area, so you stretch out with your arms. And you're aiming for your forehead to the floor. And again, you're pressing down with your arms. And it's that pressing down into the floor that allows you to stretch through that armpit area. And if you squeeze your shoulder blades onto your back, you should get some nice stretch and movement. It's working the muscles in your upper back, and you should get a little bit more movement through your upper spine, which can get really stiff. So if I show you without actually working, and you can see the shape, my arms aren't straight, so there's no work through my arms at all. My muscles are all relaxed. My bum has come off my heels, and although this might feel reasonably comfortable, it's not actually doing anything. So what we're aiming to do is keep, if I actually go into this now and show you the active position, hopefully you'll be able to see the difference. So your bum stays attached to your heels as much as possible, and squeezing my shoulder blades onto the back of my chest. So that's the shape without work, and that's the shape with work. I do hope you can see a difference, because I can feel a difference. And that's the main thing. Okay, so we've got a little bit more, my upper back feels a little bit more awake. I'm more aware of it. I can feel my shoulders, my shoulder blades, and I feel like I've got a bit more space. And it doesn't feel quite so stiff, which is quite good. So hopefully you can still see me here as I stand up. So we're now going to take this into shoulder rolls. We're going to do some shoulder dislocates today as well, so you're going to need a strap or a belt to brace your arms against. So I'm just doing that exaggerated move to start off with, the shoulders up by your ears and then back and down, squeezing your shoulder blades onto your back chest. Weight evenly distributed between your left and your right, whether it's left and right sitting bone if you are sitting, or feet if you are standing. Right, I'm just going to grab my strap. So for me, I can certainly, tied a knot, get a little bit more movement and stretch through my shoulders if I use a strap to brace against. So feet about shoulder width apart. I'm going to have to move away from the wall, otherwise I'm not going to be able to move my arms back, but it's going to chop my head off, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but bear with me. Can you see what I'm doing here? It's really difficult to set the camera up in the space that I've got, but I'm sure we can cope. So, the wider your hands are, the easier it is. We're going all the way up and round. Don't force the move. If you get, don't lift my bar off the wall. If you get to about there and it won't go any further, think of squeezing your shoulder blades together, because that's the bit, and really stretching through your arms, because that's the bit that works for me. It gets that little bit of extra stretch. But don't force the move all the way around. It might be that you need to lengthen your arms, so make the strap, your hands a bit further apart, because the closer they are, the harder it is. Or if they're as wide as they will go, it might be that you just need to work in that position and hold it for a little bit and then move back round. But do as much as you can do, but there should be no pain in the joint. You might feel your muscles working, so I can certainly feel mine working now. And you keep your arms straight as you come all the way over. And as you can see, as I'm moving back round, my palms are up, and I can really feel my shoulder blades working there, and a nice big stretch across the front of my chest as I come back round. So what's next? Let me have a little look. So we're now going to stretch across the front of our shoulders. So it will stretch through our chest as well, but a bit more of a focus on your deltoid muscles here in the front of your shoulders. So we've done some work on the back. Let's stretch these, which encourages that posture here. Some more space across the front. So what you're going to do is one arm up behind your back, and you just cradle that arm with your other hand. So you're in that position. So you're trying to keep your shoulders, be in the right posture to start off with, so shoulders back and down. Now for me, I can feel a stretch in both shoulders at the moment, mainly because my right shoulder is a little tighter than my left. But you should feel the stretch in whichever arm you've pushed behind your back, you've folded behind your back and is being supported. So you'll feel some stretch across the front of this shoulder here. And just breathe into that and think broad across collarbones. Don't let your bottom stick out, look after that lower back. Okay, and release it in a bit of a tactical waggle, and then we're going to do the other side. So my right side is stiffer, so back and round. I find it really hard. It's a joint issue with me. My shoulder will not go back and down, it just doesn't. So you focus on what you can do, and that's absolutely fine. I'm still stretching through my deltoid, so that's good. And just breathe into that. Think of really squeezing your shoulder blades and broadening across the front of your chest. And then just to really stretch through the front of your chest, to finish this one off, if you clasp your hands behind your back, think shoulders back and down, and then really squeeze your shoulder blades together, trying to straighten your arms as much as you can. So it's going to look like this from behind. Try not to let that happen, let your bum stick out, so keep your bum tucked under and think stretching through your collarbones, really squeezing your shoulder blades so you've got a nice big stretch across the front of your chest. Okay, bit of a tactical waggle. And then we're going to finish off with a bit of a twist, which again is going to work on the upper back, but also through the front of our shoulders. So you can do this one seated. I'm going to start kneeling. So one hand supporting. You don't have to be kneeling forwards on all fours. You can be kneeling back a little bit. One hand behind the head, and you're going to reach down towards the elbow and then up, and think of pushing that top elbow back as far as you can to open up your chest. And back down. So this is a mobility and a stretch at the top of the move. And just do this a few times. You might find as you do a few more, you might be able to get that elbow up and open up through the chest a little bit more. And then of course, turn around to show you on the other side. Whatever we do on one side, we do on the other. So really stretch out. It's a bit stiffer on this side at the minute. Breathe out as you're twisting up around. You can tell it's getting cooler. I've got lots of layers on. There we go. So all of those work on mobility through the joint, in your joints, in your shoulders, and some movement in your upper vertebrae, and some stretch through those muscles in the front of your shoulders and in your upper back, and hopefully your back feels a little bit more mobile, not quite as stiff, and maybe your posture's a little better. That's what we're aiming for. Don't forget to check out the website www.eatmovebehappy.com. We have lots of different fully coached programs for you to look after your health and well-being, whether it's around your eating and exercise habits, whether it's understanding more about your mental health, whether it's about building your wellness plan. So all things that can help you feel happier and be healthier. So check out the website and let us know if there's anything particular that you would like us to cover, and we can look at doing that. So keep moving, keep that Movement Not Miracles going, and I will see you tomorrow.